Which movie to watch first? It has become the great cinematic debate of our age, with the release of Barbie and Oppenheimer. But we can save you the trouble. We can answer which you must experience first, Barbie or Oppenheimer. Both stories divide themselves between two visions of reality, one intensely colorful and one monochrome. Oppenheimer's story will be told in both color and black and white, with color depicting the subjective experience of the characters, while black and white depicts more objectively portrayed historical fact. Barbie's story goes from the hyper-saturated color palette of Barbie land to the far paler, grayer, and washed-out real world. Both stories will see their protagonists wrestling with a complex legacy. Barbie with a complex and arguably sometimes harmful effect on how young girls perceive themselves and gender, while Oppenheimer with the deaths of 226,000 people and the knowledge he armed the human race with the means to destroy itself. And, of course, both films have the potential to reignite geopolitical tensions in the Pacific arena. So, I think we can agree without any further argument that the question is not which film should I see, but which film should I see first in a back-to-back double bill. That is the question we are here to answer, taking you through the options and objectively comparing the data about both films' relative merits to reach the objective truth, just like scientist Barbie would. Option A, Barbie and then Oppenheimer. From the outset, there are practical considerations here. Oppenheimer is all set to be R-rated, while Barbie is aiming at more of a PG-13 sensibility. This means that cinemas are more likely to put Barbie showings earlier in the day, and Oppenheimer on in the evening, apparently assuming that if you want to see Oppenheimer you must have a day job. However, assuming that your local multiplex has enough screens and the wisdom to use them wisely to offer you a range of screening times for each film, there is also an aesthetic and emotional argument for viewing Barbie first. Barbie is, among many other things, a story about growing up, while Oppenheimer is a story about being a grown-up by developing a weapon of catastrophic, potentially world-ending power during the largest military conflict in history. Viewed together, the effect is supposed to be disconcerting. You are not going to take the dark, pessimistic tones of Oppenheimer and wash them down with the strawberry milkshake of Barbie's musical numbers. You are going to journey from Barbie's fantasy world into its bleaker real-world setting ruled over by an evil Will Ferrell, and then push forward still further into the grim hyper-reality of the post-atomic era. This viewing order will leave you upset, confused, and more aware than ever that your existence could be snatched away at any moment by forces totally outside of your control. Option B, Oppenheimer and then Barbie. Some would argue that this is the most psychologically healthy way to view the double bill. It is even Tom Cruise's preferred order, with the Mission Impossible movie star revealing to the Sydney Morning Herald that on Friday I'll watch Oppenheimer first and then Barbie on Saturday. Indeed, after Oppenheimer's harrowing journey into the creation of nuclear weaponry and the devastating psychological impact it has on the man behind that creation, you can cheer yourself up with Ryan Gosling following Margot Robbie around and just looking so pleased to be there. But that isn't the real reason to watch Oppenheimer first. The real reason is that the shadow of nuclear terror is integral to Barbie's story. The first Barbie doll was released in 1959 at the very height of the Cold War and only 3 years before the Cuban Missile Crisis. From the start, with her dream houses, dream cars, dream jet skis, Barbie represented the height of the all-mod cons boomer consumerist dream, and that dream has always existed in the post-war shadow of the mushroom cloud. The houses in Barbie land have no walls and no doors. Gerwig herself has pointed this out, saying, "Dream houses assume that you never have anything you wish was private. There is no place to hide." But by the same token, these houses resemble childlike, sanitized fantasy reflections of bombed-out buildings. Kate McKinnon's wise but weird Barbie resembles a post-apocalyptic survivor out of something like Mad Max, and the hyper-saturated color palette harkens back to the likes of Fury Road. It is a flight into fantasy from the darkest of terrors. It is thus less a question of whether you should watch Oppenheimer before Barbie and more a question of whether you can truly understand Barbie if you haven't seen Oppenheimer. Good luck watching whichever movie you choose.